chant the Mangalacharna prayers and lead a short kirtan, and then we will proceed with the program. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamala Krishna Prasaya Vishnupad Paramahansa Pariprajapacharya Stotra Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Samstapakacharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Pariprajapacharya Stotra Satasi Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hariyanko. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So, Maharaj, what should be the sequence of the program?
With Srila Prabhupada in India from August 1970 to March 1972. And we are most fortunate also to have in person His Holiness Srila Swami Maharaj, who is the author of the book. Haribo! So this is the first official public launch of the book itself. So the program could be volume. So you can decide the way of video first or speak first. How would you like to do? Promotion. There's a promotional video, and then there's always viewers from speak or either way. And then towards the end, the books are available, and we'll be making an announcement about the books.
Well, maybe we should. If more people are coming, in that sense, it might be better to shoot. I guess we could show. Well, I guess we could show the video now. There will be more people coming, but.
What would you like to do for more people coming?
Well, I think show the video.
For more people coming.
Then I can just start reading.
Yeah.
Start reading and then show the video. Hare Krishna, my dear devotees. So now we will read from Dancing White Elephants, Traveling with Srila Prabhupada in India, August 1970 to March 1972. And the book includes visits to Amritsar, Delhi and Vrindavan, Indore, Surat, Bombay, the Ardha Kumbh Mela in Allahabad, Gorakhpur, Bombay again for a longer period, Calcutta, Delhi, Madras, then Mayapur and Calcutta. And today I thought to read about Madras, chapter 12, November 27th, 1971 to February 24th, 1972. In November, just after the Delhi Pandal program, and on the eve of Srila Prabhupada's first tour of Vrindavan with his disciples, Achyutananda, Bhavananda, and I volunteered to go to Madras to arrange a preaching program for Prabhupada there. When Achyutananda informed Prabhupada of the plan, Prabhupada asked, "Oh, you are not going to Vrindavan with us?" In fact, none of us could imagine missing being in Vrindavan with him. But Achyutananda replied, "ISKCON is Vrindavan, Srila Prabhupada." And Prabhupada said, "Yes, my Guru Maharaj used to think like that." "But which do you want us to do?" I asked. "Which is the better service?" "I want you to put on a pandal in Madras," he said. "That would be more pleasing." I met many so-called intellectuals in Madras who tended toward impersonalism. They thought, "Oh, how silly. You are saying that Krishna is supreme, and someone else is saying that Shiva is supreme." There were many Shaivites in Madras who believed that Shiva was supreme. These impersonalists considered themselves to be more intelligent than the naive sentimentalists who worship particular deities. And they considered us to be naive sentimentalists because we worshipped Krishna, chanted Krishna's name, and preached Krishna's supremacy. As one of the first ISKCON devotees to visit Madras, I was quite a sensation, an American Vaishnava. Many people there had never seen a Western sadhu, and several people, wanting to help, suggested that I meet a Mr. Ramakrishna, who they said was pious and religious and would be happy to hear of our activities. So I met Mr. Ramakrishna, and he turned out to be one of those people who thought that Shiva was supreme. And before long, we came to verbal blows. He had a volatile nature and turned red in the face. and raised his voice in anger. So the meeting ended quite abruptly. Still, as I continued preaching, people kept telling me, "You have to meet Mr. Ramakrishna. He is a very pious man. He is a very religious man." And I imagine that people were telling him, "Oh, you should meet the Hare Krishna devotee. He is very nice. They are doing excellent work." After a few weeks, I thought, maybe I should give it another try. This time, I'll be more careful. When I phoned Mr. Ramakrishna, he immediately agreed to meet me, confirming my thought that people were speaking favorably about us to him. It was probably embarrassing for him that we had disagreed so vehemently. So we met, and this time I tried to restrain myself, and he tried to restrain himself. But eventually we came to the same point of contention. Who was supreme, Krishna, Vishnu, or Shiva? Again, the argument escalated, but neither of us wanted it to end the same way as it had the last time. Then I got an inspiration. I said, in 2 weeks, my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, is coming to Madras. So instead of our arguing, why don't I invite you to meet him, and you can discuss with him directly. Mr. Ramakrishna liked the idea. It was a way out for us both. And ultimately, what could be better for him than to meet a pure devotee of Krishna? When Mr. Ramakrishna eventually met Srila Prabhupada, he told him about our dispute. Quote, "I met your disciple Giriraj, and I argued that Shiva is supreme, and he argued that Krishna is supreme. So, who is supreme?" Prabhupada took a different approach. He didn't enter into the polemics about who was supreme. Rather, he said, there are two words in Sanskrit, puja and bhakti. In puja, one worships the deity to get some material benefit. And in bhakti, one worships only to give pleasure to the deity, without expectation of personal return. Generally, the worshippers of Shiva engage in puja. They worship to get some material benefit. Whereas in bhakti, we worship Krishna for the sake of Krishna's pleasure, just to please him. Mr. Ramakrishna asked, is it not possible to worship Shiva in the mood of bhakti? Prabhupada replied, it is possible, but it would be exceptional. For example, generally people go to a liquor shop to buy liquor. Now, one could go for another purpose, but that would be an exception. Generally, people go to buy liquor. Prabhupada did not enter into the controversy over who was supreme. Rather, he explained the different moods in the worship of different deities. And Mr. Ramakrishna was satisfied with the answer. On December 12th, we had an exuberant Nagar Sankirtan, which was reported in the Hindu newspaper, along with an introduction to the Krishna consciousness movement. Quote, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This divine chant is by no means new to the people of India, nor is the practice of group singing of devotional hymns in streets and other places strange to them. But the bhajan that the huge holiday crowd in Triplicane Beach witnessed last Sunday evening was something uncommon. A group of saffron-robed sadhus chanted God's name and sang Sanskrit verses in his praise. They all had the marks that go with a Hindu sadhu. Vertical sandal-colored streaks on the forehead, a small tuft of hair, head garlands, and traditional clothes. But at a closer look and a little conversation with them were enough to reveal that at least 3 of them were Americans. The 4th hailed from South India. Impelled by curiosity, crowds collected to watch the bhajan, and soon hundreds among the onlookers themselves joined the choir, inspired by the fervor with which the sadhus chanted divine names and sang devotional hymns, clanging their cymbals to match the tune. Founded in 1966 in the United States, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON, now has about 70 centers spread all over a number of countries, including the United Kingdom, France, Japan, Australia, and Africa, and India accounted for 5 of them. Nearly 5,000 ministers, such as the 4 that have arrived in Madras, are engaged in propagating Krishna consciousness among the people. What is Krishna consciousness? It is the process of becoming aware that all the material benefits one enjoys, in fact, life itself, are gifts of Krishna and living accordingly. It was a very nice article. Then there's a section about the main objects. And then there's a section about New Vrindavan in America. And it concludes, the father of this Hare Krishna movement is the Calcutta-born A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, who in 1965, at the advanced age of 70, went to New York to fulfill the mission assigned to him by his spiritual master years earlier, to spread Krishna consciousness to the West. The Guru Parampara of this school is traced to Lord Krishna himself through Chaitanya and Madhva. The Swami is due to visit Madras on January for a stay of about 10 days, during which he will deliver discourses on Bhagavat Dharma. Although our main program for distributing books in India was life membership, I also went to bookstores. Srila Prabhupada was so intent on his books being distributed that he would write me letters suggesting specific stores to approach. One big bookstore that I visited periodically and supplied with books, Higginbotham's bookstore on Mount Road, the main street of Madras, placed a sizable order, about 60 large books. So how many of you in the audience have been to Madras? Okay. And how many are from Madras? Okay. On December 22nd, I wrote to Srila Prabhupada, "We are overjoyed that you agreed to speak here. I am still collecting around one life member daily and trying to have one kirtan program daily also. I had previously made the publisher of the Indian Express a life member, and now I have made the publisher editor of the Hindu newspaper a life member, as well as the biggest movie star and movie producer of the South." The movie star was Shivaji Ganeshan. I don't remember who the movie producer. Maybe, well, anyway. As you suggested, I went to Higginbotham's and they took 10 sets, Krishna, 6 TLC, 10 NOD, 12 NB, 12 Isho, and 35 BTGs for cash outright. Srila Prabhupada replied, "I am most pleased especially to hear that you are distributing many books. Go on increasing books and go on increasing my pleasure." My stay in Madras was the first time I was really on my own in India, and I was trying to preach the same way I had heard Srila Prabhupada preach, declaring that Krishna was the Supreme Personality of Godhead and criticizing demigod worshippers and impersonalists. There were many impersonalists in Madras and many demigod worshippers too. And I gradually began to hear from some of our friends that there was an undercurrent of protest against the way I was preaching. The Shaivites didn't like it, and the Mayavadis didn't like it either. Actually, hardly anyone liked it. I heard the criticism, and I was surprised, but I didn't really make any change. Eventually, the criticism reached a point, however, that I began to have doubts. So many people are saying the same thing, I thought. Maybe I am doing something wrong. Even one of our best friends at whose home I had been staying, echoed the comments. Quote, "You shouldn't criticize others," he advised. "Just say what you want about Krishna consciousness and don't say anything negative about others. Don't criticize." He gave the example of the Gaudiya Math. They don't criticize others. They have a nice temple. And every year they have a big celebration of Janmashtami and thousands of people come. But they don't criticize like you do. They just present their own activities. Why can't you be like them? I thought about what he said, but when I asked myself whether Srila Prabhupada would really want us like to be the Gaudiya Math, I didn't think he would. So I kept preaching as I had been. But then another friend, whose brother had offered to sponsor Srila Prabhupada's program in Madras, said the same thing. All right, you worship Krishna. You can worship Krishna. But don't say that Krishna is better than Shiva or Ganesh. You do bhakti. That's all right. But don't say that bhakti is better than karma yoga or jnana yoga. Wherever I went, I kept hearing it. Finally, I thought, maybe Krishna is trying to tell me something. Maybe I should listen to what people are saying. And I made a resolution. I am not going. I'm just going to present Krishna consciousness. I'm not going to criticize, and I'll try not to offend people anymore. Soon thereafter, I had an appointment with a big industrialist. Srila Prabhupada said that if we just placed his books on a person's table, the person would become a life member. So I went to the man's compound, which included his factory, office, and residence. And in his office, I showed him the books and the pictures of our activities, took out the life membership form, explained the benefits, and asked him to sign. What about Shankaracharya? He asked. He is one of the great acharyas of India. You haven't said anything about him. So I said, yes, he is one of the great acharyas of India. But you haven't said anything about him. What about him? What about his teachings? I tried to avoid getting into an argument, so I said something vague and general. But he kept pushing, probing. And finally, I couldn't help myself. It all came out. I told him that actually Shankaracharya was an incarnation of Shiva, and that as such we gave him all respect. But I also told him that Shankaracharya had come with a special purpose, to present an imagined monistic interpretation of the Vedas, and thus bewilder ignorant people. I even took out the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. We didn't have the Chaitanya Charitamrita then. And read the verses from the Padma Purana and Shiva Purana about Lord Shiva taking the form of a Brahmin, preaching the false doctrine of Mayavad philosophy, which was covered Buddhism, and promoting atheism. Still, Shankara's ultimate purpose was to bring the Buddhists, who were atheists, to accept the authority of the Vedas. It was a strategy. Then Lord Chaitanya came and taught the proper understanding of the Vedas. Things became tense. The gentleman put forth a series of arguments, and I thought, I didn't want to get into an argument, but somehow I did anyway. He'll never change his position. I might as well just leave. And that was the end of the discussion. Dejected, I put away the pictures, put away the books, put away the membership form, closed my briefcase, and was ready to go. As I was about to leave, however, the gentleman said, "Before you go, I would like you to see my temple." I thought, oh no, there's going to be a Shiva Lingam, and he's going to want me to bow down, and if I don't, he's going to be even more offended. I looked at him, and he looked at me, and I could see that he wasn't going to take no for an answer. So I said, all right. He escorted me to his temple room, which was quite large for a personal temple, and was all white marble. Facing us on an elevated platform at the opposite end was the altar. And to my surprise, on the altar were large marble deities of Radha and Krishna. Boy, was I ever happy to see them. I hadn't seen any Radha Krishna deities for some time, since even the Vaishnava temples in Madras were mostly Vishnu, and then the famous temple of Parthasarathi, which was just Krishna alone. So I was delighted. I offered my obeisances and prayers, and then I looked at the gentleman with an expression that asked what was going on. He looked me straight in the eyes and said, "I am a devotee of Krishna, and all my family members are devotees of Krishna. My family has worshipped Lord Krishna for many generations. I was just testing you. And you did not compromise. So I am very pleased, and I will be honored to become your life member." We went back to his office. I took out the form. He took out his checkbook, and he paid the whole amount in one installment. Later, when I thought about the encounter, I was confused. I wondered if maybe I hadn't been doing the wrong thing after all, but I still wasn't sure. When I got back to my room, there was a letter waiting for me from Srila Prabhupada. Receiving a letter from Prabhupada was always a great occasion. When I opened it, the words jumped off the page. Quote, "The fact is that I am the only one in India who is openly criticizing not only impersonalism and demigod worship, but everything that falls short of complete surrender to Krishna." Prabhupada's words continued. "My Guru Maharaj never compromised in his preaching, nor will I, nor should any of my students. We are firmly convinced that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that all others are his part and parcel servants. This we must declare boldly to the whole world. that they should not foolishly dream of world peace unless they are prepared to surrender fully to Krishna as Supreme Lord. End quote. So, I got my answer. That was Prabhupada's mood, his Guru Maharaj's mood, and his mood. And that was the mood he wanted us to have. We don't compromise in our philosophy. In the same letter, Srila Prabhupada wrote, I have read the text of your speech delivered at the Rotary Club, and it is very thoughtfully prepared. Try to arrange many speaking engagements like that, and simply repeat what you have heard me say in lectures and in our books. And the spiritual effect will be very potent. I am very pleased with your preaching attitude. It may be that the governor of Madras will invite me as his guest. If this happens, I will come to Madras. So for the time being, you may remain in Madras making members, and by my next letter, I shall let you know definitely whether I am coming. If I come, you can arrange lectures in all the prominent halls, and all over the city you can advertise A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada speaks. I replied, your determination that there should be no compromise with Maya, in fact, distinguishes you from all your contemporaries. And we, your humble servants, are trying to follow in your glorious footsteps. Although, of course, I'm zillions of light years behind. I spoke to Tamal Krishna Prabhu on the phone, and he informed me of your Divine Grace's decision to come here for the program from February 11th to 13th. I'm arranging for a nice hall with open sides in a good location to accommodate 1,500 to 3,000 guests, as well as nice accommodations for you and 10 to 12 of your disciples. I shall put out a small souvenir book to meet travel and other expenses. Anyway, then I write more about my preaching activities. On January 21st, Srila Prabhupada wrote back, I am a due receipt of your letter of January 11th, 1972, and with great pleasure, I have noted the contents. I'm especially glad that you are planning a very nice 3-day program in Madras, and for that purpose, I plan to return by first week February from Africa. You may please approach the governor as a chief guest. I am very much gladdened that you are collecting so nicely for life membership and book sales. I think that you are very easily the best collector and one of the most responsible and best organizers of all my students in India. And I am very, very much appreciating your sincere efforts. The simple formula for success in Krishna consciousness is this sincerity. If Krishna sees that his devotee is sincere, then Krishna gives all help to bring the devotee back to him. And thus the devotee feels himself being drawn as if helpless by the force of loving service, closer and closer to the lotus feet of Krishna. Now try to arrange chief guests like the governor and others, and make the program very nice and advertise it nicely, and then I shall really enjoy to come there and see what you have done. I had been thinking that Srila Prabhupada was watching me and asking myself, what would Prabhupada want me to do? I didn't feel that I was doing anything special, but his frequent letters were very encouraging. One day, Achyutananda had an argument with our host, a so-called Orthodox Hindu, who believed that you couldn't be a Brahmin unless you were born in a Brahmin family. Still, the man conceded, you can be a Vaishnava, and a Vaishnava is more than a Brahmin, but you are not a Brahmin. To become a Brahmin, you have to take birth as a Brahmin in your next life. Achyutananda explained, one takes birth in a particular family according to his karma, his previous pious and sinful activities. And thus someone who has been engaged in sinful activities may not take birth as a Brahmin in a Brahmin family. But by chanting the holy name of the Lord, you can immediately eradicate all sinful reactions without a change of body. In conclusion, Achyutananda questioned our host, what is stronger, the holy name or sin? And the man had to admit that the holy name was stronger. By taking shelter of the holy name under the guidance of a pure devotee, one could be freed from sinful actions and reactions without changing one's body, and thus one could transcend the position of even an ordinary Brahmin. One could become more than a Brahmin and also a Brahmin. On one Ekadasi, Bhavananda and I were in the mood to go out and preach. Achyutananda said, no, it's Ekadasi. We shouldn't go out. It's inauspicious. And besides, it looks like rain. But we thought, he is so attached to external rules and regulations. We have the real spirit of preaching. We're not going to worry about Ekadasi or some rain. So we went out. At first there was only a slight drizzle, but within minutes the sky opened up and the rain poured down. And it kept getting heavier. And there wasn't much of a drainage system, just an open ditch 2 or 3 feet deep, lined with concrete. So as the storm continued, the channel started filling with water. Pretty soon we couldn't distinguish between the water and the street. The water on the street, the water in the ditch, and the water in the fields beyond. Through it all, Bhavananda and I walked along blissfully, drenched in water but inspired in our service to our Guru Maharaj. Then Bhavananda fell into the ditch, up to his waist in sewage water, until I gave him a hand and he climbed out, dripping. When I related the incident to Srila Prabhupada, I praised Bhavananda that he had equal vision and didn't distinguish between high and low. I quoted the Bhagavad Gita 5:18. Vidya Vinay Sampanne Brahmane Kavihastini Shuni Chaiva Swapake Cha Pandita Samadarshana. Quote, the humble sage, by virtue of true knowledge, sees with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmin, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater. Outcast. Yes, Prabhupada replied, you have theoretical knowledge, but Bhavananda has realized knowledge. Practical realization. On February 11th, the Hindu newspaper announced Srila Prabhupada's forthcoming to Madras. A very nice article. And then it published a report about his arrival. Srila Prabhupada arrived by train, and I, along with a large group of local well-wishers, met him at Madras Central. Some hours later, he sat in the back seat of a flower-decorated 1959 black Chevrolet Impala convertible for a grand parade down Mount Road, the main street in the city, led by a decorated elephant and marching band, followed by devotees doing kirtan, and ending up at the city's civic center, where Prabhupada addressed a gathering of admirers. The following day, this is a very instructive conversation with a very important man. The following day, I had arranged a meeting between Srila Prabhupada and Sri Chakravarti Rajagopalachari, Rajaji, the first chief executive of independent India and the author of a well-known English translation of the Mahabharata and other books on Indian philosophy. Rajaji was now 93 and had been the last Governor General of India and the first Indian-born Governor General, as all previous holders of the post had been British. He had also served as leader of the Indian National Congress, premier of the Madras Presidency, governor of West Bengal, minister for Home Affairs of the Indian Union, and chief minister of Madras State. He was one of India's elder statesmen, deeply religious, and a founding father of India. And when Vice President Richard Nixon from America visited him in 1954, Nixon called him, quote, the wisest man in India, end quote. So now I relate some of the conversation. Rajaji, to Srila Prabhupada, referring to Madhavisa, who is the chief of your group, you or he? Prabhupada, laughing, as you like. Rajaji, he's holding a big stick, so I'm asking. Madhavisa, Prabhupada is the chief. He has given me the stick. Rajaji, it's a pretty long stick. Let me have a look. It's wrapped in cloth. Madhavisa, it has 4 bamboos. It is called Tridandi. Prabhupada, this is Vaishnav. Rajaji, are there 3 sticks in it? Madhavisa, no, there are 3 pieces, 1, 2, 3. There are 4 sticks wrapped here. Rajaji, you have taken sannyas? Madhavisa, our Guru Maharaj Prabhupada has given me sannyas. Rajaji to Prabhupada, very well. I was told that you were 76. Prabhupada, yes. Rajaji, you don't look like that. I think that is not the correct age. Probably you are 56. How many are you here in Madras, Giriraj? About 15 are here in Madras now. Rajaji. How many are women and how many are men? Giriraj. 2 women and 1 woman child. That's Saraswati. Rajaji, 3. The rest are young men. Giriraj, yes. Rajaji, from 76 downwards. Giriraj, yes. Rajaji, to Srila Prabhupada. You belong to West Bengal, I think. Prabhupada, yes. My birthplace is in Calcutta. Rajaji, great. Great and famous place. Prabhupada, where you were governor. Rajaji, looked after very badly, very badly. Prabhupada, Lalaji was governor in West Bengal. Rajaji, yes. I was called governor there for some time. I liked the place. They were all very kind. Then there's some discussion about Calcutta, then about Mahatma Gandhi, then about Dr. Radhakrishnan. And then they came to a very important point. Rajaji, I think with any religious movement like yours, people think they can buy the grace of God by giving some money, right? So you won't find any difficulty in getting money because there is an air of sin in the world, and the sinful people think they can compromise by giving money. Let them give. Prabhupada. That is also good. Rajaji, let them give. But that is the smallest point. Another point is, I suppose, in each institution, in each center, there are men as well as women, and they live together. Prabhupada, not together. Women's section is different. Rajaji, it's very important because all religious organizations have floundered on scandal, and you will have to be very careful about that. Prabhupada, yes. From the very beginning, because in Western countries the boys and girls intermingle very freely. Therefore, as far as possible, I get them married. Rajaji, on the philosophy of action which you have taken of converting people to the worship of Sri Krishna, I wonder whether you will place more importance, I asked my friend Giriraj, whether it is the Gita that you may stress on or the Bhagavatam. Prabhupada, Gita is the preliminary study of Bhagavatam. Rajaji, true. But in Bhagavatam there's lots of danger so far as Sri Krishna goes. The Bhagavatam, so far as it relates to the other incarnations of Mahavishnu, itself is different. But so far as Sri Krishna goes, it deals with a chapter of his life which can mislead people. Prabhupada said, yes, we are very cautious about that. Rajaji, generally people begin to think, I am Sri Krishna, God. Prabhupada, that is nonsense. Rajaji, now that is the danger. But so far as the Gita Acharya's teachings, who is a different person, There's no reference to his early life in Vyasa's Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is simply about an acharya. Occasionally he says, I am Ishvara, but he's an acharya primarily. I'm not trying to sermonize to you, but I'm trying to explain what I feel. Very difficult doctrine of detachment. The Gita Acharya says sannyasa is difficult, and you are likely to become a hypocrite if you, Prabhupada. Mityachara sa uchyate. He is called a pretender. Prabhupada, the thing is, when there is detachment, there must be attachment. Rajaji, yes, to God. Prabhupada, yes, that is required. Rajaji, if you wish to live with detachment, attach yourself to God. Prabhupada, yes. Param dristva nivartate, ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste. After getting good attachment, one gives up the inferior attachment. Rajaji, right. That will be better. The attachment should be to God. Prabhupada, Krishna. Rajaji, Krishna. Govinda, as I will call him. Attachment should be to Govinda, not to an organization. Prabhupada, Govinda is absolute. Govinda and Govinda's organization are the same. Govinda is absolute. Rajaji, I don't want to discuss it as I told you. I'm not competent to discuss. I'm just telling you what I think. Prabhupada, no, I'm also answering this point. Just like Krishna, his name, his form, his pastimes, his entourage are all the same. Otherwise, what is the benefit of chanting Krishna's name? Suppose I am thirsty just now. If I simply chant the name of water, water, I will not be satisfied. Water is required, the actual substance. But when we chant Krishna, Krishna's name is not different from Krishna. And so on the absolute platform, Govinda and Govinda's organization are the same. Then I arranged for Srila Prabhupada to meet with Dr. Radhakrishnan, which was very interesting, but for the sake of time, I'll have to skip that. Srila Prabhupada met with many of Madras's most important citizens.
I think we should play the video as soon as we can. Some people are leaving.
Okay. Well, there's a lot more nectar about Madras, but we're running short of time. And yeah. So now we will show the video about my books. I think we should turn out the lights. Should be louder. Can we put a microphone by the speaker or something? I mean, it has to be much louder. Yeah, let's start again.
Have you ever wondered how service to God relates to service to man? What was Srila Prabhupada's vision that led people around the world to chant Krishna's names? Watering the seed is an invaluable offering to all aspirants on the path of devotion, with many wonderful personal exchanges between Srila Prabhupada and his dear disciple. Giriraj Swami kindly shares his realizations with the honesty, wisdom, and humility for which he is known and loved. It transports us into Srila Prabhupada's intimate association during some of the most historic moments of ISKCON's development. These personalities built this worldwide movement and gifted it to us, to be nurtured by it and to serve.
On one's last days of life, it gives readers the resource to face death squarely. And deal successfully with that often fearful and painful, but also saving moment. Down to earth and practical as well as spiritual, both fresh and mature. It draws us in with superb narrative. It also answers tough questions about death and dying.
Drawing from both spiritual leaders and experts in the field of hospice and palliative medicine, life's final exam has universal application.
One of the most important books about Srila Prabhupada is about Srila Prabhupada and his Lila of years of heartbreak and struggle in true Mumbai. No one else can write this book like His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj.
Srila Prabhupada's struggle to establish Hare Krishna land and build a temple for Sri Sri Rajagopalachari in June on the outskirts of Bombay was perhaps the greatest effort of his preaching movement. By the strength of his desire, an overgrown plot of land in what had been a remote fishing village, infested with rats, snakes, and mosquitoes, became a place of pilgrimage in the ocean surface. And after a prolonged and arduous but victorious struggle, when the conveyance was finally signed, he declared, "It was a good fight. Someone should write a book about it."
How building a temple transports us into one of the great events of our time. It is a story of surrender on the path of pure love, an incomparable story that many have tried to relate, but which no one will ever be able to tell, like His Holiness Giriraj Swami.
From the beginning, Giriraj Swami served the Jewel Project in various roles for 30 years, and spent years researching, writing, and preparing the book for publication. It is part of ISKCON history, a complement to Srila Prabhupada's Lila.
This book is a page turner to the highest degree. Once you begin, you just can't put it down.
Giriraj Swami has written his fifth book, Dancing White Elephants. Traveling with Srila Prabhupada in India, August 1970 to March 1972. Covering visits to Amritsar, Indore, Surat, Bombay, Calcutta, Allahabad, Gorakhpur, Delhi, Madras, and Mayapur. In some 400 pages of text and 17 images, dancing white elephants in the fold by Madhuri Dasi, who was present for most of the adventures, who captivate the minds and hearts of readers and increase their attachment to and love for Srila Prabhupada and his white elephants, his disciples who helped him in his mission.
To Maharaj's carefully chosen words, you see the exquisite sights and feel like you are living the experiences that were part of establishing Hare Krishna movement in India. You meet incredible devotees who became pillars of this movement through the boom storied spiritual growth and advancement, and be introduced to seemingly ordinary persons whose lives became transformed by contact with Prabhupada and his dancing white elephants, just as he envisioned.
There you have it. All the books are available. And this latest book that has arrived just 2 days ago, it's in our midst now. Dancing white elephants. Celebration of Bhagavad in India, August 1970 to March 1972. I'm reading this book currently for the last, you can say almost 1 week. I was reading in advance copy. Yeah. And a lot of the book is about our Mother Yamuna, relating many pastimes herself. She didn't really write her book, but all the information that she had to write a book are in this book, in a way, especially in India. You want to say something about it?
What did you just say?
She didn't really write a book for us, Mother Yamuna. But there's a lot here that she's speaking about.
Yeah.
Can you say something about that?
Well, she was, very much a part of our group that was traveling with Srila Prabhupada in India. And soon after we arrived in Delhi, there was a function at the Yamuna River, and somehow the press took a fancy to Yamuna Devi, and they featured her in an article. And then Srila Prabhupada commented that Yamuna Devi has become as famous as the Yamuna River. Yeah, there's a quote from her on the back. Throughout our short stay in Amritsar, Srila Prabhupada exhibited superhuman energy, as though the mercy of Lord Nityananda became personified in him. And we would all have to run to keep up with him. So this preaching would go on non-stop. And the energy that he had for preaching Lord Chaitanya's message of Krishna consciousness was just inconceivable. And then there's one quotation from Srila Prabhupada. We have to give protection to any person who is slightly inclined to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We shall give all help, all assistance to such persons. That is our business. Not sleeping business, not lazy business. We should always be active. My Guru Maharaj used to say, one who has life will preach.
So, this last devotee here, his name is Rajagopalachari Prabhu. If you need bulk orders of these books, if you're coming from different parts of the world, as well as here in India, you can see there's discount structures for bulk orders. And if you want a personal copy of the book, only in India, the details, which is hardbound, almost 400 pages, 20 pages of photos inside, stitched with a dust cover, white paper, and the contents itself. It retails for 600 rupees. But if you are in charge of temples and you want more copies, you can see Rajagopalachari. Others you can avail yourself at this table in the next few minutes. Like to conclude? You can start this meeting.
Shall I go there? Either way, I can go there and sign. Okay.
Yes. I think not. The table for you. So if you want to avail yourself of a copy of the book on this side, any of the books, one of the books, and if you want it, just sign this on the here, so that you have to come this table. I'll take it. Ananta Vaishnava Vrindaki, Itayo Brahmanande.